My name is Wong. I'm a senior on the men's golf team, and I'm studying broadcasting and advertising. I just remember growing up, I was born and raised in a Christian family, Christian home. My parents introduced me to the gospel at a very young age. And, at that time, I pretty much believed everything my parents told me. So, it was just one of those things. If my parents told me to do anything, I'd do it. I was a really obedient kid, but, that's just what I thought everyone believed. And, when I started meeting people and started going to junior high and high school, it came as a shock to me that, people knew who Jesus was, but no one believed it, and certainly no one lived it out. And one of the big sins I struggled with, and I still struggle with now, is human approval. And I wanted nothing more than to fit in and to be, a part of the circle that everyone was in. Because I wanted human approval so much, I started developing habits and certain behaviors where it'll help me fit in a little bit better, and I'd be, cool to other people. Yeah, so it even got to the point where I got suspended for 5 days my freshman year. I got in a lot of trouble, and during those 5 days, I was home, and my parents weren't happy, and they yelled at me and scolded me, and they gave me a lot of guidance actually as well. And it was then when I realized, I need to change my behavior, my habits, and just my overall human character if I wanted to play college golf and if I wanted to have a bright and successful future. So, I started looking for answers, and it was then when I got introduced to FCA through a brother actually. My brother introduced me to FCA, and at FCA was when I realized that, I can glorify God and point people to Jesus in everything I do. So FCA stands for Fellowship of Christian Athletes. It's a very, very gospel-centered organization. It taught me that God is a really holy God, created everything, man, me, everyone. But me, being the imperfect human being that I am, in order to be with God again, it's going to be tough for me. But because God is so loving and so holy, He sent His one and only Son to die, not for me, but as me, so He could take my punishment and so that I can be with Him again. However, the story doesn't exactly end there. In order to complete the whole gospel story, I have to respond to it. And everyone responds to the gospel whether they know it or not. You either reject it or you accept it. And for me, I chose to accept it because first of all, it's the greatest gift that you can ever receive. And secondly, I've experienced no greater joy than being in the presence of Jesus Christ. You can't work for this gift. You can't do anything on earth to possibly earn your salvation. The only way you can get it is if you just accept the gift that God is trying to hand you. But when you accept it, you can't just partially accept it. You can't just accept the self-preservation part and then do whatever you want. Jesus is expecting your full commitment, and it says very clearly in Colossians 3:23, whatever you do, so everything you do, work at it with all your heart as if working for the Lord and not for man. So for me, for example, when I say I commit golf to God, it's not just, God, please help me play well, but when I'm on the course, I'm not going to give very much effort. To God, that's just not a very holy and pleasing sacrifice. So my golf career, it's going to come to an end very, very shortly, but my story doesn't end there. God being the great story writer He is, I know that He's got something great in store for me. And, Colossians 3:23, working at everything with all my heart, it still applies for me outside of sports. And it's my prayer for me and for everyone that they work at everything in their life with all their heart, as if they're working for the Lord and not for man.